Kingston Flemings is a four-star point guard in the class of 2025. Although, depending on who you ask, some people say he's a five-star point guard. I like his game. He's 6'3", one of those taller guards that I think projects to be a pretty dynamic player, both offensively and defensively at the college level. The 24/7 composite has him as the 22nd rated player nationally, right on the edge of four-star, five-star. That reflects where he is basically everywhere else. He just went on a visit to Texas Tech and apparently had a good time on that visit. He also has upcoming visits that he wants to set up with some teams of note to us, with Houston, with Kelvin Sampson, with Creighton, with Greg McDermott, and with my Michigan Wolverines, with Dusty May. So that's not all the schools recruiting him, but some trending schools for Kingston Flemings: Texas Tech, Houston, Creighton, Michigan. He lists offers as well from Alabama, Baylor, Kansas, TCU, Tennessee, Texas, Texas A&M. Kind of a strange list, like missing the Duke, North Carolina, Kentuckys of the world, but one of those kids who is like that pedigree recruit you would lump in with everybody else. And he's playing with Team USA right now, by the way. I don't think he made the team, did he? He's coming off the training camp.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think he made the team. I think he's on the training camp.
Yeah, he was one of the ones where, like, when we did that video breaking it down, I remember being like, I hope Kingston Flemings makes it. And then I don't believe he ended up making it. But yeah, good that he was kind of in that mix with all those really prestigious guys that we were gassing up as one of the best U17 Team USA teams in a very long time. Give me your breakdown on Kingston Flemings, the player. What do you think about his game?
The fan.
One, I'm starting to realize that this might be like a really, really good point guard class because like we're just like going through some of the point guards in the class. We talked about like the high level ones like Jasper Johnson, Jeremiah Fears, Acuff, but like you get down to like these guys that are in the 4 or 5, like the fringe 5-star like kind of range, like still the range Fleming and like a Caden Lewis are in. Some really good players because you watch his film and I have a hard time thinking like this kid cannot be a 5-star prospect. I think that he's a kid who does great at getting downhill. I would love to know what his actual height is because I'm seeing everything between 6'2" and 6'4". He's 6'4". I'm extremely intrigued on what he could do, but I think he's great at getting downhill. And I think he's done nothing but produce so far on the circuit. And even though he did not make the team for that Team USA, we saw that roster. We broke it down, or we went through who was at that training camp. Some really, really good guards there. So it's not, I don't think it's any indictment on who he is as a player. And I think one of his favorite games of his from last year, he was playing, I believe it was at Duncanville in one of those little hoop hall, like holiday tournaments, or whatever. And he was playing Link, who had Trey Johnson, who's one of my favorite players that's at Texas right now. And Kingston was hooping. And I believe that he was against Jasper Johnson as well. So, like, you were watching that game and you came away like, oh, yeah, this Kingston Fleming kid is on par with some of these really good guards that we like. So, I can see why he's a highly recruited kid.
Yeah. Yeah, fun player for sure. I think he's very smooth when you watch his footage. Like, he kind of gets to his spots very easily. I see why some services have him as a 4-star. Like, I don't see the explosive offensive creativity stuff that we've seen with some of my other favorite guards in this class. Like, Jasper Johnson feels like anywhere on the floor, he's a threat to score or do something crazy off the dribble and just spin out of trouble. I've talked about how much I love Jeremiah Fears. I've talked about how much I love Caden Lewis, who's on the rise. I would put Kingston a half step behind all those guys. That's not like a massive indictment on him. But I think it makes sense that his offer list kind of is what it is. The biggest school on his offer list is Kansas. And Houston, like, I don't mean to demean any of the programs on it. Like, Houston obviously is big time. But it's rare that you see a kid who's like fringe 5-star top 25 consensus, and Michigan's one of his 4, and the others are like Creighton and Texas Tech. Like, as a Michigan fan, that becomes like, oh, this is a winnable list if Dusty could do work. And I think it would be one of the better recruits Dusty's attempting to try and get right now. What does it mean to you that Michigan's involved here?
So I think it's a winnable list. And it's going to be interesting to see if Dusty can basically, because right now, at least to me, and you can push back on this if you want, he needs to sell his like pitch of what he does with guards up against other people, right? So he was even quoted in the Houston article, like Sampson's bringing up Jamal Shed, and like I can see why that would be enticing to a player, right? But then Michigan's pitched, he had John O. Davis under the fold. He still needs to use that if he's able to, get some good players out of his guards this year. He needs to do that as well. But it seems that a lot of these schools that he's recruiting against are, other coaches like McDermott who have had some really good point guards in the past couple of years as well too. But does he has a Michigan offer, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, he also did bring up that there's like a list of main schools that haven't offered him yet. Like that he's in contact with, like he's maybe waiting to get one of those. But like you said, I'm not sure if he might get those. He also brought up McCaslin and how that was his first offer when he got the job there at Texas Tech, so that means something to him. But just surface level looking at this list, yes, this is one that I would look at if I was a Michigan fan and be like, I could go head to head with these guys and win that.
Yeah, I'm not saying I think it's going to happen, but I'm saying like little surprise some of the bluer bloods aren't in. I will say this, if Jeremiah Fears, well, he's committed. If Jasper Johnson and Caden Lewis commit soon, those guys are like doing all the visits around, like, Kentucky, North Carolina, UConn, they're doing those dances. Whatever schools miss out on both of them, I think are going to quickly pivot to Kingston. And I hope that maybe Michigan or a different team here can close before then, because it's one of those things. You get that phone call from John Calipari who's like, come be my point guard now. Or I don't know why I picked John Calipari there, even Mark Pope or Hurley or anybody who misses on the others. It's kind of a different game. So I guess we'll see. I guess we'll
If
see.
if you had to pick a school based off this quote, this came from Kingston himself. Looking at his list, what would you say would be the school he would pick? The family aspect is big for me. I want to play for a coach who will let me play early and often and be able to play through mistakes. I don't want a guaranteed spot. I want to work with it, but I do want that opportunity to play. I'll be looking to play for a coach I know will develop me. I don't want to end college being the same player I am now. I'll feel like I would have failed if I did that. I want to play with good talent around me, and I want to win.
Mm. Mm.
I
I mean,
don't really. Where is there a school that comes right away out of that, or is that just the generic handbook recruit?
I don't know. That
I
feels
say that.
generic. It's not like super relationship-y, which if it was, then you would think maybe Texas Tech. Look, I think all the schools that he's talking about on his list have proven they'll play guys early, or at least the coaches, right? Michigan, we shouldn't be going off what Juwan Howard did at Michigan. We should be going off what Dusty May did at Florida Atlantic. Like they had stars play early, and not saying anything was promised or given to them, but they earned it and had opportunity. To me, I mean, two of the schools on his list are Creighton and Texas Tech. Texas Tech's just best player just transferred to Creighton. So we're gonna watch Pop Isaac's career play out and how it is, and think Texas Tech's the perfect landing spot. I
Ah,
don't know. I'm just putting my negative recruiting hat on here.
doing a good job.
Houston, Houston to me is the team to beat because they're the best program right now, and they've played a bunch of really young guards that are awesome. So I don't know if I were like handicapping this, who do I think is the biggest threat to win this recruitment or the favorite? I would say it's probably Kelvin Sampson in Houston, but I don't know if I get a surprise commitment to Michigan, I'll be ecstatic with Kingston. Also, his name's Kingston.
I was waiting for that to be brought up.
At what point do you drop the Stin though?
You can't just go by King. I like Kingston.
You could just go by King for sure, Cart.
No, that's no, that's
What do you mean no?
that's lame.
King is lame?
Well, I mean, I don't want to open up a whole thing here, but I'm against like royalty names being your first name.
You'd rather have Prince be the symbol instead of his real name.
Yeah, I don't want Prince to be a name. Don't want Queen,
You love Derek
Jester,
Queen.
huh?
You love Derek Queen.
His last name's Queen. His first name was we have an issue.
First name's different. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this one, and we shall see. The NBA draft is coming up, and I've got something awesome for you. We are partnering with the people at NBA 2K Lab. NBA 2K is the best video game on earth. The people at 2K Lab are making some awesome stuff to make that game even more fun, and they just launched their 2024 NBA Draft Simulator, where you can find the official Sleepers Media big board. We ranked our top 75 players in this draft class. Me, Carter, Brian Ralph, Riley Davis, we did it together, and it is featured on the 2K Lab NBA Draft Simulator. You can take control of any team in the draft, play GM with just one click, and see our entire rankings before these videos even come out. Check out the link in the description of this video to try out the draft sim for yourself, and you can find more mini games at nba2klab.com/NBA-mini-games.